All right, got a lot of requests to build a newer model standalone harness. So I've got a 2000 that I was taking apart. I'm actually filming another video on it, but this should work so I can show you what needs to be done. And that's what I want to take more time, put more effort in these videos, but I'm still trying to balance an actual job to make money in these. So I'm gonna at least get you going, and then later down the road, if we want to do more in-depth stuff, maybe, you know, better stuff. But like I said, this is a 2000, but I'm pretty sure these plugs never changed. It's just the fact that they added a coil pack. So the actual pin out on the harness, you won't have to change anything because it's already pre-built. So this harness is pretty self-explanatory. It just runs right around here, cut a few zip ties, and goes to the motor. And I put a zip tie because some hater will be like, I don't know, I'm just trying to prevent all that stuff. This one, you're gonna have to cut it, and then trying to think, there'll be one more down here that we'll probably have to cut. I can't remember, may not have to use that. I think we can bypass that one. And then these two oddly shaped ones go to the transmission, and then there's a square one down here, if I can see it. That one will have to be cut too, and this one's definitely a little more trickier than like a 91 through, well, 96 and older. Those are pretty simple. These get a little tricky because they added a bunch of electronics, and you got to know what's doing what, and like the computer wants to see that the ASD relay is working. So like I said, it gets a little confusing. I'm gonna get the harness out. It's actually a different video. And when I get the harness out, we'll talk about it a little more. So yeah, I'll be in touch in just a second. All right, I got the motor, my brother's shop over there, and he don't have wiring tools. He's a machine shop. So got a razor blade. I actually have all the pinouts for this stuff, so I'll probably be using them throughout the video, and then I'll put them at the very end of the video if you want to screenshot them. Got the motor in the cool shop here as the sweat dries up. Just for visuals, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the harness off. Crap, I forgot to cut the plugs off. I'm gonna cool off and cut these off. Unplug this harness here, and then I'll go show you cutting the plugs off. All right, if you hadn't figured out, like pretty much all these videos are gonna be by request, and there's a guy needing one. So like he just needs a simple run. But as it goes on, like I'm gonna cut this plug off right here. And then but what I'm trying to say is you probably could take this entire harness and just strip it down to what's needed. So we'll do that later on as I get requested. You know, this is kind of just a basic how to run it. So this plug here, we know we got to cut it. Actually, it's crazy how many wires you actually need out of that one. The black one here, that's the only one I need. I probably cut it here and then pull some wire so I have some slack. Don't care about these two. Like I said, I think that ground runs around to there. So if you're scared and don't want to jump into that, that's why I'm getting at. We'll do another one another day. And then this plug right here, don't think I necessarily have to have it, but just for this video's sake, I'm gonna do it that way in case you wanna have it where it's semi-removable. So let me cut them. So I got them cut off there. Like I said, I'm just gonna show you again. This is one of them you need. This is one, technically you could just cut wires and not have to use this plug, but that's the way I'm gonna do it. And then, like I said, that's air conditioning. This, and I think that's just for the alternator. I can't exactly remember, but head back over to the air conditioning. We'll get us all this cut apart. Got everything laid out. Just personal preference. I sit in the floor to do this. It just seems to work out better. So I'm gonna lay everything out and actually figure out what I'm doing, because it's been a day or two since I did one. So give me just a second. All right, I got everything laid out on the floor, and usually I go off like trial and error, but since I'm doing the video, it's pretty difficult to get everything spot on. I'll go over a couple things real quick. Those are obviously gonna plug straight in. These are grounds, kind of common sense stuff there, should be anyway. You ground them back. This plug I cut from the computer is crazy because the only wire I need is, let's see, I have to find a number. It goes by color, so black, white, gray. There it is. So I don't know if you can read. Man, I wish GoPros would do this. They just won't focus. It's number 12. Actually, let me film this on my phone so y'all can read. All right, that's so crazy. That thing will not zoom. And watch this. Y'all can read everything I need to say. So number 12. It's a dark green and white. Got it labeled. That is the only wire on here that you'll need from the gray connector. That's the one I cut off the body. But like I said, if you go down through here, like some of these are for the gauges, fuel level. I don't really understand that one. Then AC and then fuel pump control. So we can go all day on the wiring harness, but I'm trying to just do basic running. So pick up, let's see. This is the one I said you could get away with not using it. Blue one does AC compressor. That's the starter. See the little wire right over there? Oop, little wire. And then the green and orange, that's something you'll have to learn. That is called, it's called the ASD, and it's called auto shutdown. So it's basically, I guess, how to kill the motor instantly. All the stuff that runs at all your 12-volt sensors, it's the supply for, I know the coil pack, and alternator, it's the positive, does the charge alternator. Used to be the O2 sensor, but I think I'm going to study on that. But like I said, get accustomed to knowing the green and orange, because you'll see that all over. See, there's green and orange. Then, like I said, it's what powers basically everything up. So let me look at this one. Number 2 is basically like an amp wire. It's what turns it on. You know, you don't even have to dig it out of there, but see, it's going to come out of that plug right over there. So go back over here. What did I just say? Should be dark blue, white right there. There's dark blue and white. So I don't know the number on this connector. I'm gonna try to get a pin out on it tonight. Next, I don't think I need sensor ground. I think the computer supplies that. Could be wrong, but we'll check that. And then number 22, dark green, black. That's the heavy gauge coming out of this connector. So like I said, we'll plug this back in. Then we'll have to extend these wires to where they need to go. And then these two should already be, and that's another color you need to get familiar with, is black and tan. I think for how long, I don't know, Chrysler used black and tan as their ground for just about everything. And that's one that's coming out as black and tan, but I'm not using it on my other harness out there. I've been looking at it. So that's that. We'll learn that. And field driver. So yeah, that's that connector if y'all want that. Like I said, I'm going to screenshot these at the end of the video. The only thing I'm kind of worried about is I don't know if I've been heating the O2 sensor on the test stand. So it just runs off, what do you call it, closed, open loop, whichever one it is. So kind of just runs off of base factory tune. There's the connector right there. I think the green wire, which is coming out of here. Oh, that's the other thing. Where is it at? Generator field driver. Yeah, generator field. Sometimes they call it driver, sometimes they don't. That's number 10 on the white connector, and it's just dark green. Well, it obviously goes, there's the white connector, goes through here, and it's going to spit out over there again. So 99% sure that's it right there. It's got 2 dark greens. So I'm thinking one is for the alternator ground, since this will be tied in with the ASD, which is the positive, and then the computer controls the ground of the alternator. And that's what I'm pretty sure all Chrysler alternators, they have a positive, and then the computer controls the ground. And if not, I'll do another video. They make a standalone, it's actually from a Plymouth, but that's another video. So pretty sure that's the wire that'll go to the alternator, which would be this wire. So we'll have to extend both of them. Don't care about the starter wire currently. Surely y'all can figure that out. And like I said, I think that green wire is going to be the one that excites this, or excites, whatever, this O2 sensor down there. So that may be something I have to study on. Ooh, I still need a motor. That one don't work. So I'm to a dead point on my end till I figure out some more stuff. So pretty much every scene you just seen beforehand was filmed about three and a half months ago. I've been trying to get a engine for my stand, and I got a fancy thing holding my phone now, so I'm trying to make sure this works out. So if I repeat myself, just bear with me. I can't remember what I said. I edited a video trying to make sure, but it's just gonna happen. So like I said, this is my 99. this is a 99 harness, but this is actually a 2000 motor. So I went back, I'm trying to just make sure everything I've told you on that harness is the same. And I think I made this mistake myself. Whereas this is the one connector, this one. So literally, like I told you, I'm pretty sure if I told you, you just need one wire. And let me see, that is the gray connector. Yeah, that is the only wire I believe we need is fused automatic shutdown relay output. So the computer just wants to see that the relay's working. It's turned all the sensors and everything on before it tells the motor to crank up. So said I tried, I made this was my mistake. It's see, that's that one. Generator source, that's dark green orange. That's the one I thought controlled the alternator, but it is not. It comes out of this black connector right there. It's just a solid green, so it runs around to the one connector. Like I said, doesn't matter which alternator you have. Dog's not helping at all. So if you look, like I said, the blue one it goes in one plug, and then the other one goes back. This is my wad of positives right here. So like I said, I'm pretty sure, yeah, this wire goes back into the number 12. Like I said, it just wants to see a positive from the ASD relay that it's working. Got that plug covered, I believe. So now if you lay the harness out and kind of concentrate, it's pretty much self-contained. Like those two plugs run around, go to the motor, they'll go over here. Like I said, this is a coil pack, and then it's got this black connector that goes out. What is that? Oil pressure, you know, all that ground there. And then crank sensor O2, and then it goes back. Nothing back here technically matters. So yours may look different back here, but nothing really actually matters. So like I said, all we're worried about now is the black connector. And I'm not looking at the charts, I'm just saying this off the top of my head. That one, the same green wire, I believe that's it. That'll be coming out. Is it green? Yeah, it's just straight green. So that's that one. I remember the blue and white, I know we talked about it. And then the green and orange is ASD. So pretty sure, yeah, they're all tied into there. And then I may have that wired up wrong, but it still should work. Or no, that's constant right there. So where's it at on this one? So yeah, the green and black, that's what I've got wired as my constant. Let me check it. Yeah, this goes back to the black connector, which is that one right there. The dark blue white, that's basically what triggers, you know, that's your switch. And then the dark green black is fuse positive. So that's essentially, that's hooked it straight to a battery. I said ground should already be done. So I know it's complicated trying to explain it, but it's really not complicated once you learn it. So like I said, we're still, I don't know about the O2 sensor. I know that was one of the things I haven't stressed on. So let me get this harness off and get it swapped over to the coil pack or the pickup coil and the coil pack. And I'm kind of excited because as long as I've had this stand, I've never run a coil pack motor on it. So it's gonna be good. So one thing I did notice is this is still got the connector in the floor. This is this connector. Can't get, I don't know which one it is, but I ran a ground around here and grounded it. So I did realize, like, hey, I can just leave this and then just plug the new harness up, but I feel like that goes against the video. So I'm gonna cut this out of here and start over fresh to make sure we see everything that's got to be done. I can't hold and point, but it's black and white that comes out on my connector, and then this is the 2000. It doesn't have the same wire right there, so hopefully it's not important, but I will let you know when I find out. So everything so far has just been plug and play. I haven't cut or anything. This is part of the harness that goes down. It comes across. It's got your crank sensor and then your O2 sensor. Like I said, 99 through 97 probably will drop right off here. Like I said, none of that stuff will be changed, so you shouldn't have to alter anything is what I'm trying to say. So now I don't have a knock sensor on this motor, or whatever that thing's called. I've heard multiple things. We're not going to argue over that, but it'll run without it. May not run perfect. So here's this connector. That's the main one we're dealing with right now. Nothing back here matters. Speed sensor, the rear O2, and then we don't have an alternator. So we'll look right here, and this is where it's gonna get a little confusing at home, but that's the same connector right there, the green with black tracer. It's kind of a heavier gauge. And then these two, the ASD, it's the green and orange, and then the blue and white. So those will be tied together however you want to do it at home. The only kicker I run into is on my 2000, there's two greens with no tracer. Well, I know this one goes to my alternator on my other harness, and this one's green and white. So I don't know what that wire is. Probably look it up. But so this, I'm pretty sure this will be our alternator, and I will check it on video. So I got a connector for that one to make it look like that, and a nose strip back, and then I'll show you pretty detailed on the alternator how I do it. So this should be getting us pretty daggum close. That wasn't bad at all. I haven't done it, so I wanted to say it before I forget. We do have to have from where we're switching on ignition, the computer over there. I have to go get a computer. Where's the little harness? What I was saying, like I said, these just plug in. Literally all them wires you don't technically need. It's just the green and white. I'm pretty sure I said it's number 12. I may be wrong, but we've got to get it run around there to what comes on with the key is a positive. All right, I am human, so I make mistakes, but I think I've got everything. Everything's plugged in. I don't 100% even know if that computer's good. Got my grounds. Still don't have knock sensor. Don't know anything about that coil pack. No alternator, but it still should crank up. No, it shouldn't. I never tied. I got my positive coming here, but I never tied it to my wad of positives there. Hold on. All right, like I said, I don't like being called fake. It's cold, but if you listen carefully, sometimes you can hear like a loud, high-pitched noise, but I think it'll cycle the idle air control motor. Well, I don't know if you can hear it. It just barely does, but it'll make some sort of noise. So now we give it fuel. Come on. Sweet. That's the first ever coil pack I've had run on this stand. And it runs good. All right, I'm not gonna run it long. I'm impressed. I get tongue tied all the time, but like I said, I've never had a coil pack motor on there. And like I said, this is basically everything right here, and that didn't change a bit from a 99. So I'm about 99% sure 97 to 01 it's gonna be relatively the same right here. But before you leave, we are gonna finish the alternator. It's super simple, so don't overthink it. That was awesome. Cranks up better than it did with the thing. So let me go find a plug for the alternator. And yeah, y'all are free to go. Okay, so I did forget about the O2 sensor, but I think I've got it figured out. So as soon after I show you this, I'll do some digging on it. Like I said, I'm gonna crank it up. We've got no alternator. And then, oh, that's what I was gonna say. I know people like to argue with you, but I forgot I had a connector right there from the piece of harness that I got from the other one. So it plugs in. There's your green and orange. Like I said, get familiar with that because the ASD, that's green and orange. So all I did was extend its wire, the green and orange one, tied it into my wad of positives. And then the other one, I think it's green, solid green, just like this one. So as soon as I crank it up, I'll touch these together and see if the alternator comes up. Splice them together, and then let me do some digging on the O2 sensor. This is the part where if I'm wrong, feel free to roast away at me. I'm not going to be ashamed. I've learned everything by myself. So I was doing some digging, and remember this green wire we was talking about? Well, just so happens when you go over here to the O2 sensor, there's that same green wire. And I guess I can do it right now as soon as I can find my ohm meter. If you see, I've got it wrapped around that ohm meter, and when I touch it, I get, where's it at? On the wrong one, sorry. Okay, so when I touch it, you see my ohm meter. So I don't know why it's giving me funky numbers, but you can see, get the same funky numbers down here. So that's reading right, and that's what I was gonna say. I go back, this is 01, that's a 2000, but it shouldn't matter. So if you look, it's got two relay controls coming off for upstream and downstream. Okay, so if it has relay control, that means it's controlling a relay in the fuse box, which is going to supply 12 volts. So, like I said, if this is wrong, I just learned it myself. So I think this wire could be either toggled on when the engine warms up, or you could probably straight tie it in. That's what I'm going to do. It's just straight tie it in, see how it runs. Like I said, I don't know on the 97, 8, 9. I think it's the green and white, to be honest. I don't have, wait, there it is. No, crap, it cut it. Let me split this tape back and see if it's the right color. All right, I didn't even have to split it back, but check this out. We extended the wires, but run back up here. What do you know? It's green and white. So I do believe that wire right there is going to be the same output from the relay of the 12 volts to heat up the O2 sensor. So crank it up. I'm gonna let it run a second and then we'll plug it up. But this is the part I don't have OBD2, so I can't hook up and tell if it's working. But if it starts black smoking or something like that, we'll know it's wrong. So what I've done is I went ahead and tied it together, the green wire, with the O2 sensor. Smoky in here. O2 sensor's not hooked up. So I can do this one-handed without getting killed. Well, that didn't work. Move the crank sensor wires, I'm pretty sure. Restart it. Got these wires stripped back for something earlier. Alright, here we go. Definitely changed idle tones. So far, so good. See that black smoke. So if you was at home, like I said, you'd want the O2 sensor on a separate, that's running off my switch, but you probably want it to come into play later on. So I believe that's got it covered. Like I said, this is the best I can explain it. I may have missed something. You know, this is very difficult subjects to explain. But if I did comment something, I'll do a short video. You know, I'll try to message people back, but it's just hard. Like I said, everything I know, I've learned myself. So I'm sure I missed something, but I've done running buggies with these harnesses. I've done all sorts of stuff. I mean, it runs. It's sitting there running in front of you. So did I make mistakes? Probably, but just part of it. So I appreciate you watching. Throw me some ideas for other videos, and I'm gonna be so proud to have this now. I can run WJ motors now. Have a good night or day.